Let's talk some sports, baby.
Taken by Iguodala. Iguodala to Curry. Back to Iguodala. Up for the layup. Oh, blocked by Jones.
And remember, make tomorrow better than today, and make today better than yesterday. And you know what we gonna do. We gonna holler at you until next time, baby.
All right, guys, let's stay in the bubble with some other player news. Lakers point guard Rondo suffered a fractured right thumb in practice and underwent successful surgery for it this week. This puts Rondo out 6 to 8 weeks, likely returning around the first or second round of the playoffs. It also puts the Lakers in quite a spot, now down 2 guards since the NBA restart was announced. Of course, Avery Bradley is sitting out of the Orlando restart with family health concerns. The Lakers did sign J.R. Smith during that mini free agency period, but they've got to replace Rondo from within. Speaking of point guards, Philadelphia 76ers point forward Ben Simmons will be switching to the power forward spot for the restart. 76ers coach Brett Brown and company made the decision during the hiatus and expects the offense to flow better with Simmons at the 4 and Shake Milton lightly starting as the point guard. So, guys, big news for both teams. What do you think, Jay?
Go ahead, Drink. You got this one, right?
Oh, yeah. I was just going to roll with the punch. Thanks a lot, host. So here's the deal. Here's the deal. Hey, it is big news for both teams, nonetheless. And I just want to say this before. I'm not saying one is, overslapping the other one. But for me, I'm going to go with the Rondo deal. The Rondo deal is a big deal. Why? Because you have to put it in the vacuum of, hey, okay, they lost Avery Bradley. Now they lost Rondo. And here's the deal. For anyone that want to tell me, well, losing Rondo ain't that big of a deal. He's been trashed for years, whatever the case might be. Like, listen, tell me who can run that offense behind LeBron James. Like, if you don't have LeBron James on the court, who runs that offense better than Rondo? AD? Yeah. Try that. Put AD at the point and see where they get you. The only other player that I can really say outside of Rondo and LeBron is maybe Caruso, but Caruso don't have the – I don't want to bash on Caruso. But, like, Rondo has been doing this for so long at such a high level, like he can do it in his sleep. Like, so he might look lethargic out there at times. He might not care to play defense. That's a fact. I can't argue you with that. But when the chips are on the table, when it's playoff time, you want no one other. You want Rondo on your team. That's just the bottom line. And I would say you probably could want Rondo as a starter. The Lakers have the luxury of having him as a backup. So, listen, let's not get like overzealous here. Rondo is a big deal right now. Now, fractured thumb, 6 to 8 weeks. They could get him back if they're able to stay afloat and, smooth through and make it to the Western Conference Finals or so. You could have Rondo back for that. And let's be honest, I think that's where you would need him the most because the first round, whether it's the Pelicans or the Grizzlies or whoever, you should be able to beat them without Rondo and Bradley. Let's be honest. Second round, it gets tougher, but whoever it is you play, you should be able to beat them. But what we're looking at is a potential matchup with the Clippers. That is the matchup where you like, we might just need Rondo here. We need that veteran savvy. So, and if you was to somehow win that game, which, hey, give my man LeBron the MVP if that happens, even though that doesn't pan into the MVP talks. But if that Laker team beat that Clipper team, then we got a whole conversation we got to have about that. So, and you get in the finals, you would need them against Milwaukee or Boston or whoever you play in the finals. Now, Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons is like a magic trick, right? It's like you hear this stuff and you think you see what's going on, and then the magician is like, yeah, you thought you seen it then, but here it go. Boom. And he pulls out like a horse from his back or something. You're like, what just happened?
Fire horse.
Yeah, it's sea biscuit just coming, just like coming out, right? But this is Ben Simmons for me, right? Because every year he didn't try to hit us with the David Copperfield. Tell me I'm lying. No, not even David Copperfield. The David Blaine, right? You know how he's locked himself in a box and he dangling above knives and all this other craziness. Like, this is Ben Simmons every offseason. Look at Ben Simmons with the jump shot, folks. Oh, he's going to be unstoppable this year if he hit these jump shots. And then as soon as the season starts, you get 3 months in, and what do you do? What do you know? You get an alert on your phone, beep, Amber Alert, Ben Simmons shot. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? And then you like, there you go again. I got my hopes up again that Ben Simmons had a shot. He done let me down again. Now they want to come with this brand new idea. Hey, what do you know, Brent Brown? You know, just a little coaching. You know, the guy only been on your team for 3 years, 4 years. Like, what are we doing? Brent Brown finally took the hair gel out. COVID must have set in a little bit, and he actually thought, maybe if I move them around, I might be able to get something out of them. I would say this. As I hear this news, it sounds fantastic, but I got to see it to believe it. I would have to see, one, Ben Simmons just out there posting in the post, which I think he's phenomenal at, by the way. I do think he's really good in the post, and I do think you have an advantage with putting him in the post. But it's very hard for me to see when the chips are on the table, that's where you're going to have Ben Simmons. It's very hard for me to see that. So I think Ben Simmons is going to eventually creep on back out to what he do. Joel Embiid going, hey, this is bull crap. Pass me the ball. This is bull crap. And he going to make his pitch to go to Miami again because he's mad. I could see that. If this is, and I want to say this before I stop. If they do this switch and it works and they make it like, Eastern Conference Finals, Brent Brown just signed him an extension. I'm telling you that right now. Brent Brown, you might well say he running for president. Brent Brown, 4 more years. Like that's Brent Brown just gonna get him an extension. So with all that said, man, I think it could work for the 76ers if you move them at the 4. I just gotta see it. I think Rondo getting hurt is the bigger question here. That's the biggest problem. Because like I told Jay this earlier, out of the 2, one is a definite, the other one is a maybe. Rondo being out for 6 to 8 weeks, that's a definite. He ain't coming back in like 3 weeks to play basketball. He's gonna be out at least 6 weeks. Simmons playing the 4th spot. Maybe not. We'll see how that shake out. So, yeah, man, I think Rondo being missing is definitely the bigger issue of the 2 teams here.
Yeah, I agree, and definitely at face value, when you look at these 2 things, you would think. I think at face value, if you're not really paying attention to what's going on, you might think that the Ben Simmons move is a bigger deal. It's definitely the bigger name, but I agree with you. I think Rajon Rondo's injury could be a huge deal. And to me, I think your analysis is correct. I don't think this matters in the first round. I think depending on the matchup, it could matter in the second round if he doesn't play. And I think it could definitely, if for some reason things do not go well and he's not able to come back for the conference finals, that could be a big deal. Because I don't know. I think the Clippers are better regardless, but I think their chances go down even further without Rondo. And remember, in a vacuum, just Rajon Rondo being out, maybe not that big a deal at all. But now that you combine it with the loss of Avery Bradley, that's significant to me. That is a huge chunk of their backcourt depth. And when you talk about guys that can come in and spell LeBron James, because he's going to have to take some rest at some point, we've seen this in the past. Seemingly everywhere LeBron goes, when he leaves the floor, the team suffers. That is the opportunity for the other team to make a run. And with the Lakers right now, with no Rondo, it brings you to it bears the question, who's going to run the offense? Because to me, I don't know who else can do it with any degree of efficiency outside of Rajon Rondo. You mentioned Caruso. I guess that's a possible. I was thinking maybe Dion Waiters, but he's more of getting his own shot. He's not so much a distributor. At least that's how I see him. And you can go on and on down the list. It's not going to be Caldwell Pope. Not going to be Danny Green. I mean, there's so many backcourt guys that they have that aren't going to be able to make it work. One name I did read a little bit earlier, maybe Quinn Cook gets some play here.
Quinn Cook.
It could be Quinn Cook. But even Quinn Cook, I don't see him as a distributor. I see him as a shot maker. When you look at him and Caruso and Waiters, those would be your guys you would look to set up the offense. But that's none of their strong suit. That's not their strength. And running an offense, playing point guard is an art form. And Rajon Rondo has been nothing short, and especially come playoff time, he is an artist running the point with no jump shot. Guy's never had a great jump shot, and he's made it work for years. And I still think playoff Rondo exists. I still think that's something we could see if he gets healthy, and he could make a huge difference. But if he doesn't play, that's a significant blow to the Lakers. But over to Ben Simmons. Yeah, I'm really over. I said this previously. I see one more video of Ben Simmons shooting jump shots in practice, whether it be at an actual NBA facility or whether it looks like a gym in the local community. They picked up some guys at the corner store, brought them down to the Y, and he's just beating up on them. I'm over it. I really don't think this matters at all. To me, it's almost like, let's just say, if Cody here, we had him the title of co-host, and we upgraded him to we took the co off. We just made him the full host. Well, yeah, it's a change in title, but it didn't really change anything. He's still going to come in here and do the same things for us. He's going to set the table for us. He's going to give an outstanding analysis with the financials and everything else he brings to the table with the beard and everything. I mean, we're going to get what we're going to get. I mean, I kind of see this same situation.
Replace that beard, man.
That's right. I kind of see. I don't know, and I'm with you. There could be something tangible that we see and to change how they run offense. But until I see what exactly they're going to do outside of the position, he moving from point guard to power forward, because let's be honest, outside of bringing the ball up the floor, there's nothing perimeter oriented that he does on offense. I mean, the thing about Ben Simmons, where he's at his best, is in the open floor in transition. I mean, there's nothing perimeter oriented in his game. And just because he's shooting up jump shots in the gym and it looks nice and pretty, well, come game time, he all of a sudden just goes back. He's like a turtle. I mean, going out in the gym, his head's out there and he's making things happen. And then his jump shot is his head, and his head disappears once you get on the floor. I mean, it's just – now I will say this. If the 76ers are going to come out there and go against the grain in the fact that they're going to play some inside out, maybe some high-low, some inside out where they're going to run a lot of post-ups, give Joel Embiid post-ups, let Ben Simmons post up, and maybe run some high-low action where Ben Simmons is at the high post, Joel Embiid at the low post, and run everything inside out, because let's be honest, the moves they made in the offseason with the acquisition of Hal Horford, prioritizing Tobias Harris over Jimmy Butler, they're an interior-oriented team. That is what they have. So if they're going to fully commit to that, and there could be some merit to that, I'm not sure. But I go back to some of the structural and the situation that we're in with coronavirus. I think they rely on their home crowd. They're a much better team in Philadelphia. They're not going to have that. These are not road games, but I don't see it making that. I don't think there's much. I think this is a lot to do about nothing. I really do.
Yeah, for the Rondo thing, we talked about the timeline a little bit. The 6 to 8 week window, the playoffs are scheduled to start a month from today. So August 17th is supposed to be the first round of the playoffs. So obviously that's 4 weeks. So you're not going to have him back yet then. So I'm not sure exactly how fast the pacing of these playoffs are going to go, but I know they want to keep them moving. You won't have the additional travel days built in because obviously no one's going anywhere. So I don't know if they're going to plan on doing 2 games and a rest day and then 2 games and a rest day like they were, or how they would do that. But you have to think that he definitely won't be there for the first round. In the second round, that's 6 weeks on the dot. If everything went perfect, and we know sometimes these injuries, especially guys who have had injuries in the past, Maybe it take a little longer. So it would be hard pressed to get him back before the Western Conference Finals, assuming the Lakers make it. So they don't have much of a danger in this regular season restart. They're 5.5 games up on the Clippers. They would have to just extraordinarily tank through this regular season restart, which you would imagine the Lakers aren't going to be that bad. So it would take like a 7-1 versus 1-7 with the Clippers to be caught. So they're going to get the 8th seed in the first round. So, the impact really is going to be in that second round of the playoffs and beyond, where every day he's not there. And then, of course, factor in he's been off the same amount of time everybody else is, and you're adding another month and a half. I mean, between his last basketball play and the returning, and you're just going to throw him in the Western Conference Finals. It reminds me a lot of what happened with DeMarcus Cousins with the Warriors. Yeah, they just threw him in the middle of the playoffs. All right, man, good luck. Get out there and do great things. It's like, how much can you expect him to be ready, especially if you're going to rely on him to be a starter? So he's a professional. He's been around the block, but we'll see about that. And you got a lot of guys like, even like Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Quinn Cook, but this one they weren't ready for. They replaced Avery Bradley with J.R. Smith during the transaction window, but this they weren't ready for. So they can't go out and get another player and bring him in. They've got to replace him from within. So that's going to be a lot to replace and move guys around. And of course, guys are going to step up. And, for the Simmons thing, I don't mind it just because you look at Philly, they're that tier 2 team in the East. They don't figure to be a true contender to Milwaukee. They just certainly haven't shown it so far this year. But if you go in with nothing changed, you're going to probably get the same thing. You're not playing in Philly, so you're not going to get that little home field advantage you got built for you. So why not try to shake it up? No pun intended. Anyway, Simmons off the ball more, use athleticism. Guarding fours won't be a problem for him, obviously. I think that if you're Philly, you look at it, you go, well, if we go in with the standard battle plan, we're going to lose anyway. Why not try something different? We had all this time to think about it. Let's see what happens, right? So I can dig it, but again, like you said, I don't think it's going to change much for Philly in the end of the day.
Hey, I'm Angela. I am the owner of Soul Food and Trap Music LLC. If you're in the Huntsville, Alabama area, I provide catering and meal prep services. If not, I am on YouTube. You can check out some of my yummy recipes. I am also on Facebook and Instagram. Check me out.